Tonight, an extraordinary look at Michael Jackson's private life through his deeply personal artwork. He started drawing when he was a child. The pictures offer new revelations about the iconic singer. Much of it is kept in a secret location at an airport hangar in Los Angeles. Some of it is here in the studio with me tonight. Joining me now in an exclusive interview is Michael's mother, Katherine Jackson, and his mentor and good friend, artist Brett Livingstone Strong. Welcome to you both.
Thank you.
We're surrounded by this incredible art, most of which has never been seen, that your son Michael did. What I'm struck by, I love this picture, Katherine, which is, how old is he there, Michael?
He's about 9 or 10 there.
And he's clutching his own work of art. He painted that.
Yes.
I don't know what's more impressive, the art or the fantastic hat he's wearing. Very stylish. But clearly, from an early age, he loved art. Tell me about that side of Michael.
Michael loved art a lot. He loved paintings. He loved watercolors. He loved even the crayons. And he would always draw. And when he was even in school, he would draw pictures, and they took one of his drawings and put it on the front of the yearbook. And
was he self-taught? Did he teach himself?
Taught himself.
Amazing talent. Just
a talent that he had. And I can't say too much more about him, only his father was an artist too. Mm. He loved to paint and draw. So I thought maybe he might have picked it up from him, but he had a natural talent for it. Michael did.
And did he always paint? I mean, throughout his life, was he always painting secretly without people really being aware of it?
Yes, because when he was just a child, when we moved to Havenhurst, before we remodeled, it had a little house in the back, and he took that little house and he made it out to an art studio for himself.
What do you think the art brought him? Painting and stuff. What did it give him?
Well, you know what? I really can't answer that question, but sometimes when he's not doing anything, he would go and start painting, and I think that it's a way of him just relaxing.
Mm. A bit of escapism.
Yes.
Brett, you got to know Michael 25 years ago. Tell me about how you met, and tell me about this art collection, because it's something that people don't really know much about.
Right. Well, we first met about 1979 through Mayor Bradley of Los Angeles and also through Lawrence Welk, two different occasions. And the first time that I had a chance to talk to Michael, he says, "Now, you're a sculptor?" And I said, "Yes, what type of sculptor?" I said, "I build monuments." And he goes, "Wow, I've never met a monument builder before." And I said to him, thinking, well, I know who Michael is, but I said, "Well, what do you do, Michael?" And he says, "Oh, I love life." And I always remember that. He said, "I love life." And I said, "Wow, that's a great job. I love life too." And he says, "I'm an artist too, and I like to draw things that inspire my life." And
this collection, how many pieces are there in it?
Well, we have 98 pieces. Other people have some, and there's about 20 of those pieces are drawn. He did artwork on the other side. Mm. I made the paper for Michael in the 1980s, special paper, so if anybody got it, they couldn't, counterfeit it. And so he ran out of the paper. That's why he started doing artwork on the reverse side.
I mean, some of the pieces here, the Martin Luther King picture, Abraham Lincoln, apparently he painted drew a lot of former presidents. Well, he loved to do that.
He loved Abraham Lincoln. He loved freedom. He loved the whole aspect of people being free, artists being able to create, beautiful things to inspire people like he wanted to, create his music.
And Katherine, he had a strange obsession with the number 7 and with chairs. Now, tell me why those two things recur in the pictures all the time.
Well, Michael was the 7th child. His name had 7 letters in it. He would always talk about that. And the number 7 it means completeness. Mm. And in the Bible it tells us. So
it was like a lucky number for him.
For him.
And what about the chairs? Why did he like drawing or painting chairs?
He just had an obsession of chairs. The chairs that not just a plain chair, but chairs that you see had a lot of art in it. Mm. A lot of curves, a lot of other things like that, and he would draw.
There's one very prophetic picture, which is of a little boy sitting on his own in a corner, and we're just seeing it now on screen. What's so poignant is that Michael had written next to this, in his own handwriting, "Before you judge me, try hard to love me, look within your heart, then ask, have you seen my childhood?" What do you think he meant by that, Katherine?
You know what? I couldn't tell you, but that is the picture. I have one, too, like that. Are they showing it on?
Yes. We're looking at it now, yeah. And it's,
Yes.
it's a very, I mean, the boy looks, I guess...
He looks sad, and he looks... You know, I think it's because Michael always said he missed most of his childhood.
Yeah.
And he loved to run and play. He loved children. And I think this is what this picture stands for.
I mean, I've interviewed a lot of people about Michael. Many of your family, your children. I've interviewed Janet, Latoya, Jermaine. Also the same thing, that Michael was such a happy child. He loved just playing pranks on people and all that kind of thing. Do you ever feel a regret as his mother that he did lose the childhood, really, to superstardom? I mean, if you had your time again, would you want the kids, especially Michael, to go into that crazy world?
Well, to a certain extent. None of my children really were just loose. Because my husband was sort of, I should say, very strict about things like that. Because where we came from, there was a lot of crime. And we cared about our children. We didn't want them out there in the street running around, breaking in cars and doing like most of the children did back then. And we did things with them in the house, and that's when they started singing. But as far as having a good time and all, they were in the Little League and things like that. Then they learned to play the music. And Michael always said he didn't have a childhood, but he enjoyed what he was doing.
I think that's true, isn't it? I mean, you talked about his father being tough with them. Was he too tough or not, do you think? Did he have to be that tough?
I didn't think he was too tough, but back in those days, everybody raised their children about the same. If you did something wrong, it was terribly wrong, you got a scolding for it, and you also got a licking, as they called it. But today you can't do that. So Michael looked back at those times and he said he was abused. Well, they call it abuse, but sometime if it wasn't for the strap, what would this world be like today?
Do you think that the world has gone a bit soft in terms of
I think
discipline?
they've gone a bit too soft. I really do. And then they have too much things out there for our children to do. And they're too open with a lot of things, so things that we weren't open years ago about. And I just feel bad because I know that the world is, I think it's doomed.
Do you?
The Bible tells us the world would be destroyed, so I think.
I mean, when you look at America, modern America now, where do you think people are going wrong, especially in bringing up children?
Well, I think society is sometimes the fault of it because they tell the children to call 911, and in some cases, maybe they need to do that. But then some cases, some parents are afraid of their children. And some children tell their parents, well, if you do this to me, I'm going to call 911 or I'm going to call the police or whatever the children can. So what are the parents to do?
Well, it's interesting, when I talk to your children, all of them have said at various stages of their lives, well, we had these really tough upbringing and our father was really strict, but they've all, as they've got older, and in some cases had their own kids, they've begun to realize that maybe it was the kind of tough love that they needed. It's been interesting for me to talk to them now they're a bit older. It must be, for you, it must be an interesting experience too, to hear their views change as they get older.
They do. Children change. For instance, Tito, he was one of them that said, excuse me, that said, I'm going to raise my children just like, they call their father Joseph, just like Joseph raised me. Because he always said, my children don't get in trouble or anything like that. All these terrible things they are laid on Michael. He didn't do these things. But it's just, they're wicked people out there, and they accuse you of them. But